Welcome to Mythic Codex Legends Unveiled, the place where mythology, folklore, and legend come alive. I am your host Eliza, and tonight we'll uncover the stories that have captivated humanity for thousands of years. Turn the page. Our journey begins now. We're stepping into a nightmare. Literally. Image waking up in the middle of the night. You can't move. Your chest feels like it weighs a thousand pounds. You try to scream, but nothing comes out. Then standing in the darkest corner of your room, you notice something watching you. For centuries, people across Germany believed these terrifying moments weren't just a bad dream. They believed they were being visited by something called the Alp. So tonight we're diving into the history, the legend, and the horrifying stories surrounding one of Europeans' most unsettling nightmare spirits. The Alp comes from the German folklore with stories dating back hundreds of years, long before people understood sleep paralysis or nightmares. They searched for an explanation for the terror they experienced at night. The answer they believed was the Alp. Unlike many monsters that lurk in forests or mountains, the Alp didn't wait outside your home. It waited until you fell asleep. Some stories describe the Alp as a spirit. Others say it was a cursed human, a witch, or even a demon that wandered from house to house after dark. People believed it could slip through the tiniest crack in a wall, or sneak through a keyhole without making a sound. Families would place brooms beside their beds, shoes facing the wrong direction, or even block keyholes before going to sleep. They believed these tricks would confuse the Alp long enough for the sun to rise. Whether these rituals actually worked, no one could ever prove. Picture yourself lying in bed after a long day. The room is silent. Out, outside the wind barely whispers through the trees. You slowly drift into sleep. Then suddenly your eyes open. But your body refuses to move. A crushing weight settles across your chest, making every breath feel heavier than the last. Standing beside your bed is a pale figure with burning eyes and an eerie grin. The Alp climbs onto your chest. It doesn't attack with claws. It doesn't scream. It just simply stares. Every breath becomes harder. Every heartbeat pounds louder. According to the legend, the Alp feeds on fear. Some stories say it drinks the victim's breath. Others claim it steals life itself. One nightmare at a time. As the victim struggles, the Alp twists their dreams into horrifying visions filled with death, monsters and endless darkness. When morning finally comes, the victim wakes, exhausted, covered in sweat, sometimes with bruises across their chest that no one can explain. The Alp is already gone, waiting for the next night. Some legends even say if you manage to steal the Alp's magical hat while it visits, it will be forced to grant you riches in exchange for getting it back. But if you return the hat, the Alp never forgets your face. The The darkest stories surrounding the Alp are enough to make anyone afraid to fall asleep. Some victims were said to wake coughing blood after nights of relentless attacks. Others slowly waste away over weeks, growing weaker every morning, despite appearing perfectly healthy during the day. Animals weren't safe either. Villagers claim horses found in their barns every morning were were soaked in sweat, exhausted, and tangled in impossible knots. They believed the Alp rode them throughout the night until the poor animals nearly collapsed. Some stories become even more disturbing. There were whispers of people who died peacefully in their beds, with expressions of pure terror frozen across their face. No wounds, no signs of struggle. Only the feeling that something had stolen the very life from them while they slept. Whether these stories were caused by illness, sleep paralysis, or something people simply couldn't explain. One thing remained the same. No one wanted to become the Alps' next victim. The Alps reminds us that some of humanity's oldest fears don't hide in abandoned castles or haunted forests. Sometimes they're waiting in the darkness of our own bedrooms. And maybe that's why this legend has survived for centuries. Because almost everyone has experienced a nightmare so real it felt like something was standing beside the bed. What would you do if you see the Alp? What would you do? Would you try to take their hat in hopes they would grant you wishes and hopefully they'll go away? What would you do? What would you do? Let me know in the comments. So tonight, before you close your eyes, if you wake and find yourself unable to move, you might tell yourself it's only sleep paralysis. But ac- according to German folklore, the Alp would 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 want you to believe exactly that. This is your host Eliza. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Mythic Codex Legends Unveiled. I hope you sleep well. And I'll see you in my next legend.